Hey everybody, here we are. Not in room 8 because room 8 is currently having no power, so we're at the palatial Jones residence, and this is my screen, my little computer screen. So we're going to try it. This is going to be a short video compared to the others. We're going to talk a little bit about the agricultural revolution and whatever else that just comes out of my mouth. So here we go. Alright, so agricultural revolution, right? That's when we're going to start figuring out how to not wander around getting berries and picking berries off the trees and picking up nuts off the ground and things like that and chasing after animals. The agricultural revolution is the time that we're going to figure out, hey, you know what, if we just stay in one spot and plant stuff, we're going to get food. So there you go. So we talk a lot about in world history that the agricultural revolution is going to be centered around the Middle East, around the Levant. Oh, there's a word for you, the Levant. That's that little C shape right there on this side of the Mediterranean Ocean, Mediterranean Sea. So there you go. And so we talk about how that's where in world history where all the agricultural revolutions started. But you know they did okay in India, and they did some of that in China, and they did some in North America and South America. So really, we're just picking stuff to pick stuff. And so the Middle East. So let's see. Domestication. So domestication is when the people are going to take over the lives of all the other animals and put them behind fences. And there you go. A little Animal Farm. You should read Animal Farm. So a couple of dates here on the screen. By 9000 BC, so 11,000 years ago, we had figured out how to handle wheat and goats. And then by 8,000, we figured out peas and lentils. And by 5,000, we figured out olive trees. So here you go. Go down. If you go over to the cupboard in your house and you go and you find your olive oil, right? And you look on the bottom of the tag, the sticker, the information, and it says EVOO. So that stands for extra virgin olive oil. And so here's what this means. See, I learned this when I was teaching in Greece. So you take a whole bunch of olives, you put them in a press, and you push the press down and you squeeze out all the olive juice, and whatever comes out, that olive oil that comes out, they call that extra virgin olive oil because it's pressed once. On the second press, then whatever comes out, that's called virgin olive oil, so it's just VOO. On the third press, it starts to get a little more icky, and so you just get OO, olive oil. And then by then there's nothing basically left of the poor little olives that have been pressed, except, here's what they do. They take all that mush that's pretty much been, and then they put it in a jar and they throw in some sugar and they leave it there for a while, and hey, out of that you get some fermentation, and then that becomes ouzo, which is the national drink of Greece. Okay. And then we figured out horses by 4,000 and grapevines by 3,500. Speaking of goats, did you know here in Oklahoma City that one entrepreneur decided that he was going to make some money, and he was going to sell his goats and the guard donkey. I'm not making this up. The goats and the guard donkey, and use them as I don't want to say this. Use them as lawnmowers. There you go. I'll just use that word. Use the goats as lawnmowers because over there in the Lake Hefner area, there's some ditches that are very difficult for lawnmowers to get down into the ditch, and so they just called up these goats. And of course, if you know goats like eat and or sheep, they eat everything and anything. And so there you go. I'm actually more interested in the guard donkey, but it's an interesting story. Feel free to look that up. Oklahoma City, only in Oklahoma. All right. So wheat. So wheat that grows. Let's see if I can do this. Wheat that grows. I'm looking at this backwards in my little screen here. Wheat that grows naturally. We don't have that here in Oklahoma. We have non-natural farmed wheat. So wheat that would grow out on some mountain a long way from here. Kind of looks like this poor little thing. Just got a couple of grains on it. It's all saggy, and it's just all you feel sorry for, and you want to give it some attention and some love and play some nice classical music and help it grow. And then the farmers started to figure things out, and we know all about Mendel. Of course, Mendel's going to be 10,000 years later, but we're going to start figuring out how to plant wheat and make it strong and nice, and we have all these different grains, etc., etc. So let's see. By 3500, we had human beings, Homo sapiens, we had basically domesticated all the different cereals and grains out there. So yay for us. So what is that, 5,500 years ago? And there you go. If you think about it, you start doing the math, and it says here something about 90%. 90% of the diet of Homo sapiens around the world. Now we're talking about around the world. We're not talking about us here in central Oklahoma, but around the world, 90% of Homo sapiens diet is based off just a couple of food groups of types of food. So let's see, if you got your wheat, you got your corn, and you got your you got your wheat, you got your rice, you got your maize, corn. You got your potatoes, you got your millet, and your barley. So those six there, if you got those, then that's 90% of the food. Yes, I know, you're sitting here thinking, wait, the 6 food groups are cheeseburger, pepperoni pizza, spaghetti, tacos. No, I get it. But for the rest of the world, there you go. It's looking at the cameras backwards. I can't. Okay, so up to about what 2,000 in the past 2,000 years. In the past 2,000 years, we're done domesticating. There's not anything new that we've domesticated, plant or animal, really in the past 2,000 years. Oh, guess what? Guess what? Corgi butt. I know, I'm just a kid. I'm sorry. Again, and I already covered this. Agricultural revolution didn't just happen in the Middle East, but it happened all over the world. So there you go. This book that I'm reading, Sapiens, it talks about various things that we've talked about on these videos and or in class, argues that maybe the agricultural revolution wasn't the best thing for us. Because if you think about it, staying in one spot, yes, it gives us a lot more food. Okay, yay, more food. More food means more kids. You can have more kids. You can have a bigger family. Pros, cons. But the diet isn't as good, and you actually have to work harder. I mean, that's an interesting argument. The diet's not as good. You think about how many pieces of grain do you have to eat to make up the same amount of calories as one cheeseburger, right? Oh, they didn't have cheeseburgers. One dinosaur leg. Okay, they didn't have dinosaurs. Wait, well, no. Okay, stay with me. So, interesting research that suggests that chickens, I can't even make stuff up like this. The chickens are ancestors of the dinosaurs. And so technically, if you're eating a chicken leg, you're eating... Okay, yeah, I know. Guys, it's been a long week. Have you been stuck inside? Did you have power? We were without power for 2 days? And we were without the internet for 3 days. I know, I can't believe I survived myself. Okay. Where was I? Chicken legs, dinosaurs. Oh, so it takes more energy the argument is that it takes more energy to grow and harvest and do all that sows of ground and all that stuff than it is to go around and pick fruit off trees. Okay, I'll buy that. And so maybe the agricultural revolution may not have been a smart idea. That's an interesting argument. So, if you look at, let's see, rice, potatoes, wheat, and corn, maybe they're the ones that domesticated us. Oh, maybe. Have you guys read The Martian? Please don't say, "Oh, it's an interesting movie. I thought Matt Damon did great." Did you read the book? It's a great book. You need to read that. Put that on your list. Andy Weir. He also has a new one that came out 3 years ago, Artemis. It's not as good as The Martian, but it's not bad either. So the premise of The Martian is that we have an American astronaut who gets left behind on Mars, and he's basically stuck for 3/4 of a year, and the NASA tries to rescue him. And he's stuck in that they only have so many meals, ready to eat meals, and so he ends up figuring out that he's an engineer, but he knows just enough biology that he knows that he can plant potatoes. And if he makes it long enough, then he could just have a potato diet. Well, yes, and the book goes into a lot of detail on this, but the movie does a pretty good job, and it talks about how, well, okay, so the Martian soil, it has no bacteria in it, it has no nitrates in it, it doesn't have anything natural that makes plants grow, so how do you get the nitrates? And well, here's how you do it, poop, right? So, poop, and so in the movie he uses frozen poop, the other astronauts frozen poop, etc., and then his own. Turns out, by the way, if you plan on doing this, if you plan on farming with your own poop, which people have been doing that for literally thousands and thousands of years, use your own poop, because if you use other people's poop, I know, I can't believe I'm talking about it either, but don't use other people's poop, because that's bad. They have, all sorts of E. coli that you don't have, but if you use your own, you're good, it's fine. So you put that in the soil, and then you grow the potatoes out of the soil. So here's what's good about if you just have a potato diet. It says potatoes are very high in calories, vitamin C, potassium, magnesium, iodine, and some B vitamins. So go potatoes. Here's the bad news. Potatoes have 0 vitamin A. You got to have that for your eyes. Low protein, no vitamin D, which causes, you got to have your vitamin D. Gives you rickets. No calcium. Your bones are going to break. No vitamin E, which causes nerve damage. No selenium, which gives heart issues. Lack of fat, which can, etc., etc. So the point is, you can't just eat potatoes. Although interesting research says that if you put a whole bunch of butter on your potato, butter and potato, that will almost do it. Butter and potato and maybe a couple of vitamins. You could live like that. I'm not saying hold on. I'm not saying hold on to your poop, but okay, moving on. Agricultural revolution. 10,000 years ago, wheat was just just little small pockets everywhere, and then gosh, now it's like wheat is like everywhere. I mean, think about here we are in Oklahoma. If you go out towards the west, you go out to the Panhandle, and there's wheat growing. I mean, it's like Children of the Corn territory. They also have corn out there too, but Children of the Corn territory out there. If you don't let your car break down out there, it's like spooky. So we have wheat almost everywhere in the world. Oh, there's a cute little map. All the little green spots that have wheat. And you see, Oklahoma we're really dark. Must mean we have a lot of wheat. And so over here in North China and then North India, all the places that I mentioned at the beginning of this video, and down there in Uruguay, and then up in Canada, and the breadbasket, right? In Ukraine, we call that the breadbasket of Europe, and even in little weird countries like Latvia. Latvia, nobody wants to live there. Moving on. Hey, just a couple more. I told you this was going to be a short video. How do you get the history of the sickle? New agriculture tasks demanded so much time that we had to stick around. We couldn't just plant seeds and walk away. You had to sit there and you had to, help them out and grow and sing to the seeds and whatever you do. And there you go. So there's somebody planting seeds, and then there's an image of a sickle, which I found real interesting because it says, this image is to be used for church purposes only. Let us pray. All right, moving on. I kicked the camera, that's not good. All right, so the sickle. So handheld, right? And you cut the grass, you cut the wheat with, I guess you can cut grass with it too. What do we know about this? The sickle goes back to 10,000 years in Mesopotamia, and but it's also shown up in other places. Again, China, India, in South America, in North America. North America, they had sickles made out of animal scapula. Ooh, tell Mrs. Jones I'm using anatomy, physiology terms. Scapula, and or in Middle East they used iron, and ultimately they're going to use steel once they figured out the Bessemer process back in the 1800s. But the point is, the sickle, very good for cutting things down. the sickles, as we approach maybe 4,000 years ago, they start to branch out and have different designs. They have serrated edges and just smooth edges, etc., etc. And they the who would this be? The archaeologists, they label the different sickles based on their handles. So there you go. Weird sickle knowledge. Sickles in. Oh, sickles as a symbol. Yeah, so there you go. The bad guys. There they are, the bad guys. You know, when I was growing up, when I was your age, those were the USSR, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, CCCP. They were the bad guys. And then we have, of course, their standard flag, and then up here in the, which way am I going? The sickle, the hammer and the sickle with a little star. The hammer and the sickle representing, the farmers and the workers. And then down here we have the policia. I think that's in Venezuela in some ways, trying to point out that the police are communist. So they put a hammer and sickle there. And then here we have the American, what is that? The American Ballet Theater. Back in the, I was supposed to say back in the 40s. No, this is the 2011 edition. Okay, it's the 2011 edition, so they're showing the hammer and the sickle. I wonder if they're trying to make a political statement. Well, apparently they are. Okay, moving on. If you have a longer handle, and you put the sickle on a longer handle, you get a scythe. So pretty cool, right? So scythes, just a bigger sickle, and got a picture of this lady, and she's going to town on her scythe, and you've got these people down here doing the scythe, and of course you have the pictures of the people in the old time, what do we call those, illuminated manuscripts. Good for you. Illuminated manuscripts, and they are scything away. I was sitting there thinking, man, have I ever scythed? No, I've never scythed, but could I find a place? Ooh, looks like the sun went down, so it got a little darker in here. Could I find a place to scythe? Like, do people still scythe today? I mean, this is year 2020, right? Huh. I guess we'll find out in a second. Hey, war scythes. Yes, war scythes. So, this guy's hooking this guy's waist, but this guy's hooking this guy's head. I could guess the winner of that. Then here we have a bunch of pretty intimidating looking guys with interesting scythes, and then this guy and then this kid's getting his head ripped off. Okay, well, scythes in the war. Moving on. Okay, so it turns out you can go find a scythe contest. Let's see, this one is Sunday, the 11th of June in 2017, so we're off by 3 years, but I'm sure they had one this year. The Scythe Festival and Green Fair. So if you go to Somerset, this is in England, this is in Ireland, wait, this is in England, wait, this is in Ireland? I'm going to say this is in England, this is somewhere in Great Britain. And in the Scythe Championship, we have, wow, this is getting darker in here. In the Scythe Championship, team mowing, haymaking, scything instructions, craft stalls, scythes for sale, tools and tattoos, campaign speakers, kids area, because you need a kids area, scything competition. Hay for play, 2 music stages. All right. So I learned a new word today. I'm going to spell it for you because you can't see it. C-E-I-L-I-D-H. C-E-I-L-I-D-H. And I looked that up because I had no idea what it was. Obviously, I didn't even know how to pronounce it. It's pronounced Cayley. I know. It must be a Gaelic term. Anyway, a Cayley is like a festival for storytellers. Man, I totally need to go to a Cayley. I think that'd be cool. But they had that at the Scythe Festival. Who's the most famous Scythian person to scythe? Scythist? That guy, right? Father Time, or the Grim Reaper, as the case may be, the great scyther. The first time that we have scythes mentioned, man, I've said that word way too many times now. The first time we've had that tool mentioned in mythology is way back in the Greek mythology. Let's see, so we had Gaia, the Earth Mother, and her youngest kid was Kronos, and she gave him the ability, he was the god of agriculture, and so she gave him a scythe. Pretty cool. Of course, then that whole dust up with Uranus and then Zeus, and they all got crazy. And anyway, so that's why sometimes you see Saturn, no, not like the planet, but the god is Saturn with a scythe. Okay, is that it? Is that all I wanted to say? I think that's it for now. Okay, man, I hope this week is going to be normal. I hope this week's going to be normal. We'll see. All right, I'll see you on Tuesday. Be good. Be good.